conducted my activities at First Presbyterian Children's Center in the 2.5-year-old classroom. The classroom was very welcoming and I enjoyed my experiences there. My theme was foods and my topic was what kinds of foods do you eat? I wanted to incorporate the culture of food and expose the children to different foods from different cultures. My activities included making a pizza with the children, a food and color sorting activity, and a book with a flannel board activity. So for my first activity, I made the pizza with the children. This was my cooking activity for the lesson plan. I picked the food that would best fit with the children's age group and one in which they could all participate in. This was one I feel I established relationships with the children. I made sure everyone had a turn to participate. I did this for all my activities. I acknowledged everyone and introduced myself during my activities. I remembered everyone's names and would call them to come and help me to do something during the activity. For my second activity, which was the food and color sorting activity, I would call each child individually to come up and participate in the activity, such as saying, "Landon, can you tell me what color this food is?" The same I did for my third activity, which was the book and flannel board activity. I try to engage every child and sound very enthusiastic when reading the book. I asked the children what their favorite foods were and engaged them in conversation. Next time I feel that I could try and think of ways to engage the more reserved and timid children in the class. Overall, it was a great learning experience for me, and I feel that I learned more about forming positive and supportive interactions with young children, recognizing that there's always an area for growth. So this is my curriculum planning form, and this is the classroom age group, which is 2.5-year-olds. My theme was food, and my topic was what kinds of foods do you eat? So for my opening time, I did good morning songs throughout the week. So this would take about 5 minutes of the day. For Friday, that was the only day we didn't have a good morning group time because that would be our field trip to the park. For small group instruction, I would start with discussions. So the first day we would talk about what we ate for breakfast. The second day we would talk about what colors are foods. The third day we would talk about where do we see food. And then the fourth day we would talk about if we help cook at home sometimes. For my large group time, I did my flannel board foods activity. For Tuesday, I did a food color sorting game. And then Wednesday, we had this special cooking activity, which was to make a pizza. Thursday, we have our book. For emergent literacy, I had names of foods. There would be labels, color labels as well. And then on Wednesday, there would be directions on how to make certain foods that we can look over. And just the environmental print on some of the pretend play toys that they have in the Dramatic Play Center. Thursday, we would have that special book that goes with the flannel story, which is called The Kids Multicultural Cookbook by Deanna Cook. For closing time, we would have another discussion for Monday on what our favorite foods were. Tuesday, we would talk about what colors are our favorite foods. Wednesday, we could do another book. And Thursday, we could talk about what food we will bring to the park tomorrow for our field trip. So these are my Learning Center areas. So my objective for the Literacy Center was the objective of listening and understanding, letting others know when they are interrupted by saying it's my turn. So this is something I would try to focus on for my Literacy Center. The materials in this center include multicultural books with real pictures, large food puzzles, numbers, letters, and multicultural puppets and food flannels. So for my Math and Manip Center, we would have, my objective would be to match colors and shapes and sort toys or objects that are alike. So this would be my objective for the children. I would focus on, the materials I would use would be number puzzles, the abacus, placing boards, food puzzles, weights, and the food color sorting game. For my art center, my objective would be fine motor, so we would focus on their fine motor skills by using tools and different actions on objects. So my materials would be cooking utensils, coffee filter, painting, paint markers, multicultural colors, Play-Doh, and easel painting. So they could paint with cooking utensils for one of the activities. For my dramatic play center, my objective would be social emotional development, which is to play with toys with other children and pretend play. My theme for this dramatic play center would be a restaurant, so I would try to make my dramatic play center into a restaurant with pretend food, cooking utensils, a stove, a fridge, table, chairs, menus, and multicultural baby dolls. As for technology, for this age group, I would possibly try to have a computer, and so this computer would have interactive games about food. This would be an objective of discovery, which is to make things happen and watch for results and repeat actions. For my discovery in science, I would have exploration discovery, uses senses to explore people, objects, and the environment, so that would be my objective. My materials would be foods like dried corn and vegetables and maybe some noodles in a sensory tub. For the block center, we would have blocks, large and small, trucks, pushing trucks, boxes of foods to use as blocks. So like cereal boxes or like pasta boxes they could use to build. My objective would be exploration, which is to show interest in colors, shapes, patterns, and pictures. For my social studies, I did my cooking activities here, and so we would have cooking supplies to make a pizza, and we would also have books. My objective would be problem solving, which is to experiment with different uses for objects and apply knowledge to new situations. For my sand and water, I would have washing vegetables in the sensory tub. So we would need a sensory tub, pretend play vegetables, water, and some towels. My objective would be exploration, which is to use senses to explore people, objects, and the environment. For outdoor play, we would have ball play, maybe even making balletas so we could eat outside, and parachute play. And for my field trip, I would have a field trip to the park, which we will have a picnic with the children and their families, and each child would have to bring a dish or food from their culture to share with everybody. For my first activity, which was making a pizza, I incorporated math by having the children count the ingredients, such as the pepperoni, like while making the pizza. We also talked about how much time it would take to bake the pizza. For my second activity, I had the food and color sorting activity, which you can see here. This is an example of the cards that I used. So these are cutouts of different colors, which is brown and green, and this is the pictures of the food, and so they would just match. Like, for example, the meat patty, I would ask the children what color it is, and it's brown, so they would have to, put these together and match them. As for the green peas, they would be green, so they would put these two together. So I incorporated the concept of colors here for this activity. For my third activity, I had the book, The Kids Multicultural Cookbook by Deanna F. Cook. So this is a picture of the cover of the book, and so we would read that story. And this is an example of the flannel board and flannel pieces that we would have throughout the book. So we would just place these on here on the flannel board throughout the reading of the book. The curriculum model that I chose to emphasize was the creative curriculum. And so I feel that this is the same curriculum that they use at the center that I was at. This type of curriculum model ensures that young children learn best by doing. So learning isn't just repeating what someone else says. It requires active thinking and experimenting to find out how things work and learn firsthand about the world we live in. So this is the type of curriculum that I try to incorporate in my curriculum planning form, and this is the same that they use in the center that I was at.